Hello, I'm Mia Andrea here with Blaze Radio, and you're listening to a Blaze Radio exclusive interview with Baby Queen. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, to get things started off, I wanted to ask, how did you get into music and decide that music was the path you wanted to pursue?
I was always writing poetry as a kid. Like English class was my favorite class, and I was always obsessed with words. And I think, I started discovering that I could merge music and words together. And then I saw the Taylor Swift Love Story music video, and then that was the end. I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is my life. So yeah, it was just like a rabbit hole I fell down and was obsessed with it.
Yeah, you really spoke to me with the Taylor Swift one. That's how I got into music too.
Hell yeah.
So, other than Taylor and Love Story, were there any other artists or songs that inspired you or still inspire like the way you make music today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, the big sort of figureheads, my parents listened to so much soul and funk music growing up. So there was all of that sort of influence. I was so into MGMT, M83. The 1975 was a huge influence on me. Lord and St. Vincent. And I think Halsey as well. I was so like the first Halsey record, Badlands, obsessed with that.
I definitely see a lot of those influences in your music too, with the lyrics and storytelling. Also, like with your music videos, between the music videos and the lyrics, there's so much of like a cinematic experience to it, and you do such a beautiful job with storytelling. So I want
Thank
to
you.
know, if your life was a movie, what would the soundtrack be like?
Oh God. I mean, I guess it would be, well, I mean, it should just be like my music, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Because that ultimately is the story of my life. But I think if I was gonna make one, I would literally take songs from every single one of those influences. Probably mostly the 1975. Lyrically, I feel like that I connect with them so much. A little bit of Lil Peep in there. Do you know what I mean? We'd have a bit of like Taylor mixed with like the more punk rock badasses out there.
That sounds like a movie that I would definitely watch.
Slay, let's go.
Um, and then your newest song is Dover Beach, which just came out on April 14th. So I wanted to say congratulations on that. It sounds wonderful, by the way.
Thank
And
you so much.
yeah, and what was the inspiration for that song and what was it like creating it?
I was obsessed with this poem in school that was actually called Dover Beach, written by a poet called Matthew Arnold. And Dover Beach is this beach in the UK that has these amazing white cliffs. And I remember reading the poem and wanting so badly to go there one day. So when I had the chance to go on this writing trip at the back end of last year, I was like, I'm going to go to Dover, sit on the beach, and like write lyrics. And when I got there, I was, like unrequitedly in love at the time. And so I was just sitting on the beach, and everywhere I looked, I just saw this person. I was like, the premise of the song is essentially like, you have stolen the view of Dover Beach away from me. And the process, yeah, I guess I came up with like the melody and the lyrics while I was sitting on the beach, which is amazing because it's actually got this like super whimsical, magical, euphoric feeling to it that I think was, only captured because it was written in that space. And then I came home and played it for my producer, and we changed it quite a bit from my initial demo. But yeah, it's one that I'm super, super proud of.
Yeah, for sure. And I also noticed on your Instagram, like when you went to tease it, you did this with your last single, These Drugs, also, where you kind of introduced a character or a persona. So for These Drugs, I noticed it was like the goth, and then for Dover Beach, it was the girl next door. So what inspired you to come up with that idea and add that to your releases?
I think it's something that's actually only going to make sense when, later on down the line, there's like all of the music is going to come together cohesively and be released as a unit. So I think it's actually something that I realized when I started releasing these characters, that it was probably going to be super confusing to everyone until we get to the end and they're all together and it makes sense in the context of the release, which I'm not really allowed to like say what it is, but yeah, I feel like for me, the music just felt so adolescent and coming of age. And it felt like this period of like, I really wanted, you know, the fans and the listeners to come on this journey. Well, sorry, my sausage dogs are barking in the background. I wanted the listeners to come on this journey with me and sort of, you know, almost feel like they're growing up with me and going through that period of your life where you're sort of figuring stuff out. And so I had this idea to do this super like Americanized sort of like stereotypical high school characters, and I think it will make a lot more sense as we start to release a bit more stuff. But right now it kind of just like, I was like, whoa, okay, this is going to look a bit random, but it will make sense, I promise.
I'm definitely excited to see where that's headed for sure. And another thing I wanted to know is, what would you want someone who's never heard your music before to know about you?
To know about my music?
Yeah, about you or your music.
I think you know, the most important thing that I really always want people to take away from my music is the strength and power of the lyric. I think that if, you know, if I would hope that if anyone would describe my music to another person, they would initially look at the, like, describe the importance of the lyric rather than anything else about me or anything else first, because the lyric is so important to me. So I think that's pretty much what I'd like to be known for, I think.
I also noticed that you have a pretty strong connection with your fan base. So what are your connections with all of them like? And do you find like a community within that?
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I feel like throughout my life I've been misunderstood growing up, and found it difficult to find people that had similar interests to me and were like me. And the interesting thing is that people that connect to my music are obviously quite similar to me, you know. So it's been amazing for me to connect to these people all the way around the world, and I feel so much less alone. We've got a bunch of group chats, like, you know, on the internet. We have like a Discord group, and yeah, it's super important to me, I think, to not look at them as like fans or whatever, but to have, you know, to have real relationships and friendships with them, because they are such incredible people and so interesting and amazing, and I feel super lucky to have them in my life.
That's amazing. I really love how there really is like something that brings everyone together through that. So that's amazing that
Yeah,
music can do that. And then,
exactly, man.
yeah, and to kind of wrap it up, what do you have planned for the rest of the year in terms of music?
The big year, I pretty much have a full schedule for the next 2 years. So yeah, I mean, there's loads of you know, hopefully I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to play live, because there's loads of festivals booked throughout the summer, and a tour supporting a band called Seagirls in October. And then we've got like the first ever Baby Queen headline shows in London. And yeah, I think it's going to be super busy. We're releasing loads more music. And I'm kind of just working on the first album now, which is set to come out next year. So yeah, loads of stuff bouncing around, just making sure that like I'm getting it all done.
I'm super excited to see what you come out with, and I'm excited to stay in touch with it. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
talking with us today, and so happy you got to join us.